Welcome back to the Playdate by Freshly Picked. I'm your host, Klea, and this is my bestie, Caitie, with me today. And I'm so excited because we're going to talk about her birth story. And this is a very unique birth story that's one of my very favorites, maybe because I got to be there with her for it, but it's just very special. Caitie's a twin mom. She's a NICU mom, and she's the best mom that I know. And so I can't wait for all of you guys to hear her story. But first, let's talk about your pregnancy.
Okay.
And how was a twin pregnancy? I think everybody wants to know what it's like to be pregnant with twins.
So honestly, it wasn't that long because the babies came so early. It honestly was super good. Obviously, I was sick in the beginning, but not too bad. I almost felt like, so I have boy-girl twins, and I don't know, I wasn't super sick. I felt like maybe like the boy and the girl like balanced
your hormones or something?
I don't know. I don't know if that's even a thing, but the pregnancy was honestly really easy. People didn't even believe me that I was pregnant with twins because I just wasn't even that big.
You would have never known she was pregnant with twins.
Yeah. So we made it to 29 weeks. We went in for my 29-week checkup. And this whole entire time, all the babies were totally fine. Like the 20-week appointment looked great. Like nothing was wrong. And I fully expected to go full term. And full term for twins is 38 weeks.
Yeah.
Or I guess multiples. We go into the appointment and my son had always been like a week behind my daughter.
Like weight wise?
Yeah, like just like a
measurements,
week behind.
Yeah.
And that's like super normal for a twin pregnancy. And we go in and just do like a normal checkup. And thankfully Jaden was with me, my husband at the time, because there's been times that you just go to the appointment
by yourself.
And I remember it was one Friday morning, went in and we were just getting checked. And my doctor is super thorough. Shout out to him if you need an OB in Davis County area. He is amazing. His name's Dr. Johnson.
He really is amazing.
But he's just like a super thorough doctor. I got like ultrasounds every visit, like thorough checks, like everything. So he was just doing like his normal thorough check and was just like checking everything. And I thought everything was fine as he was just like.
You didn't have any feelings of like anything was off?
No. And so he's just like looking everything with my belly, and Jaden notices that he keeps like looking back at the same thing. And I'm just like not even paying attention. I'm just like looking at the monitor, like watching the babies.
Yeah.
Or the ultrasound, whatever it is. Jaden after was telling me like he knew something was wrong. But just by like reading
watching,
the room.
Yeah. His energy probably shifted a little.
Sure. And so he's like, so I just want to show you something. And he shows that my son, he's measuring 3 weeks behind, which is like.
And he'd always been 1 week behind.
Yes.
So this was like a significant.
Yeah. So he pretty much hadn't grown since like the last checkup. And he was like showing us like the pulse for the umbilical cord. It was like, he's like, normally it, goes up and down, but it never like drops to zero. And he was like, so his cord is going up and then dropping to zero. So
like his blood flow.
Yes. Whatever it is with that. Immediately, I was just obviously started bawling because I'm just like, what does that even mean? Like,
yeah.
And he didn't want to freak us out. So he really didn't give us much info. He was just like, I'm going to have you guys head over to the hospital and we'll just like get you checked out there. And I remember asking him like, so does this mean like I'm going to have them early? Me thinking in
maybe
like
in a couple
10 weeks. Or not 10 weeks. That's 40 weeks.
Yeah. But like maybe 30,
like couple weeks.
Yeah.
Like 5 weeks, something like that. So we go to the hospital. I'm just like, we're both just completely just distraught. We get in there. They immediately take us to a room. Like we skip triage and everything. And
this is in labor and delivery.
Yes. So we head into labor and delivery. Luckily, they were right next to each other. The hospital was like in the same parking lot. And they were like, hurry and change into your gown. Like it was rushed. And I'm thinking, what's going on? Like, why are we so rushed? And they're like, we're going to hook you up to the monitor. And if baby's not looking good, we're going to send you back for emergency C-section right now.
So were you just shocked in that moment? Because you were like, he didn't tell us we were going to have the babies today. Like
we both like looked at each other just like, what?
Like this is serious.
Yeah. Like this is not good. And just was completely thrown off because this whole time, like I fully thought I was going to go full term with them. Luckily, we got on the monitor and like both of their heart rates were looking good. And so they were just like, so you need to take these shots for the next 48 hours to like strengthen their lungs and just help them have a better chance of surviving outside of the womb.
In case we have to deliver them.
Yes. And they said, so we'll plan to have a C-section Sunday morning. So that was Friday morning. So you need to be in the hospital this entire time. And they said, we'll be like watching your babies 24/7. And if anything happens, like immediately we will send you back.
Yeah.
So like at any given moment, I could be going back for a C-section,
right.
which was super scary. But luckily they were like, you would have never known something was wrong because their heart rates were so amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy those 2 days. Just like we just had 40 hours to really process everything that was happening and going to happen.
Are you glad you had those 2 days to kind of be like, okay, I'm going to have the babies? Because it could have been really quick after you got to the hospital.
Yeah. And at that point, that Friday, I wasn't fully 29 weeks. And I remember them saying to me, like, we just need to get to 29 weeks. That's like the lucky number.
Every day you can have them in is like a better.
Yeah. They told me that 1 day in the womb is 3 days less in the NICU.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Or maybe it was
that makes sense though.
Yeah. And so I was exactly 29 weeks that Sunday.
When you deliver them.
Exactly. So my doctor came later that Friday afternoon and checked up on me and was like, we're going to have like another person do the same scan just to make sure like I wasn't seeing something. Cause he's like, obviously we want to keep them in as long as possible.
Yeah. And their heart rates were good. So maybe there was a chance.
And so he was like, I want another eye to look at it. And then he was like, we'll send the results to like somewhere like Primary Children's or somewhere like really high up to like look at it. And so I think it was that night or like Saturday morning, we had the same exact ultrasound scan. And then my doctor came in a couple hours later and was like, so we're seeing the same exact thing. Like we suggest we do still plan for the C-section Sunday morning. And I just remember just honestly being scared to death because 29 weeks is still so early. And I hadn't known anyone who has like had a baby early like that, let alone 2. And so it was just a lot. Luckily, we had family around us to just like rally around
People
us.
rallied at the hospital for sure.
It was honestly the most coolest thing. Like that whole weekend, I think there was like 1 or 2 other like births. And like the hospital was pretty much just like to ourselves.
Yeah.
And we had friends and family. You came.
I have like chills on my body, like thinking about your birth because I truly feel like there was angels there. Like there was so many people there, like in and out, but it was like so much love and like joy. And I don't know, it just felt like heaven a little bit.
No, it was honestly so spiritual. I remember the night before, so Saturday night, I just was like praying to God, just like, please let them come out like alive at least.
Yeah.
Please help them to like just live. Like I'll deal with anything, any disability, anything. I just want them to live.
Yeah.
And I remember, sorry, just the biggest calm feeling, just knowing like they're going to be okay. Like these are fighters and they're going to come out and they're going to kill it, you know? And just from that moment on, I just knew that it was going to be okay. And just everything went so smoothly for the most part. Obviously, there was some bumps in the road, but I remember they took us down to the NICU and like showed us like where they would be. Their little like
they kind of prepared you like for the NICU, like before your C-section.
Yes, and, like here are their spots, and they kind of were like, so they might come out and be on a ventilator. Like was just really preparing us for the worst,
for any possibility. Yeah,
yeah. And
what did they predict that their weights were going to be when they were born, and what was their actual weight?
So since Ace, my son, was measuring 3 weeks behind, they were like planning like a pound and a half, which is
so small,
not good.
Yeah.
And Monroe would have been like, they're guessing like 2-ish pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were just praying that he was actually not a pound. He was at least 2 pounds. And he ended up being that, which was the biggest blessing of all. Because, weight is where, like, that's what you need on your side.
Yeah.
Is they come out a little, they have something to them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
For sure. So let's talk about your actual C-section. This is super rare. So I've talked about this on this podcast before, but I'm a birth videographer. And I never get allowed into C-sections. But your doctor, we were standing there with him and he looked at me and he was like, do you want to come into the C-section with me? And I was like, absolutely. I will be in there if you wanted me to.
Yeah.
But I just remember it like so vividly how special it was. And like, obviously I want to hear it from your perspective, but like everything truly went so well. And I remember when the babies came out and they were 2 pounds and how excited everybody was. But let's hear about like your thoughts and emotions, like before you went into your C-section, like how that all felt and then like how you felt after.
So obviously it was all really fast. And that morning, just everybody came in. We just had like a family prayer. It was just the most spiritual thing, like truly. We could feel the presence of them in the room. Obviously they were in there in my belly, and everybody just felt so good about it. I just felt super calm, but I was obviously like, I couldn't really speak. I just was so emotional. And obviously like once they're like, okay, like it's time to go back, they like put you on, what is it?
A stretcher? a gurney?
And so, and like you getting gowned up, like Jaden was gowned up, you were in the white
full surgical suit
and like wheeling back. Like it was just so like, this is happening.
Yeah.
And I remember a funny tidbit to this whole situation is my husband is super sensitive with like blood and needles and all the things. And so he was like, he couldn't watch me get I'm blanking.
Like the nerve block in your back.
Yes. Yeah. And so I like went back by myself.
I was standing in the hall with her husband.
But I just remember just saying a prayer like right before they started everything and just like rubbing my belly, just like, you got this. Like, it's going to be okay. Another tidbit, my doctor is the best. He literally was the one holding my hands as I was getting the epidural or whatever it is.
He's so sweet, guys.
And he's like, you can do this. Like, it's going to be awesome.
He's the sweetest doctor
He
ever.
literally treated me like a daughter. Like, he is amazing. And so my doctor was there to support me. And then once...
And then your husband was there to support you later.
Yeah, and it kicks in like 20 seconds. They're like, okay, get her down. Like
a C-section happens really fast.
Yes.
I think that surprised me.
For sure. And so obviously they start going and I'm just like feeling like literally my body is like being tugged, and girls who have had C-sections obviously can relate. And they pulled out my son Ace first because he was like the lowest and he was hiding like really good. And so they couldn't get like a good measurement on him.
Yeah.
And so that's why I was like, okay, let's just hope he is bigger than he is. And he came out and he was bigger than we expected. And he was actually crying, which is a straight up miracle.
At 29 weeks to cry is amazing.
I know. It was the sweetest
Because your doctor, I remember he's like, they're probably not going to cry.
Yeah.
Like, be prepared for that.
Yeah. And I wanted to do the delayed cord clamping, but like obviously with this situation. So they said that's super vital with them, but like 20 seconds. And so like I was able to like feel his hands, obviously like through the clear.
So you chose the clear drape, not the.
So they had it all covered. And then once they pulled out, they took it down so I could see
the babies.
And so took him away really fast. And then Monroe was out 2-3 minutes later. And I remember chanting, Monroe, you're here. And it was so sweet.
It's in her birth video. And it's so sweet.
And I literally cherish that video more than anything. We watch it like once a week. And I literally just
eyeball every time I watch that.
Because it's truly so special. And I just wish every person could have a birth video.
Something
That's like my number one recommendation is you need a birth video. I know you might not like it or whatever. It's too private or whatever, but
it's so special to look on.
You're
also so lucky with your C-section because that doesn't normally happen with doctors. But now I'm like, well, I know it's possible. So maybe
Yes.
try and convince your
Yeah,
doctor.
push
I don't know.
push it a little harder. Be like, please.
Please let him.
Yeah, so they came out and I remember them yelling from across the room, like, he's 2 pounds, 5 ounces. And I remember just like cheering. It was so awesome.
He was a
And
whole pound bigger than they
yes.
thought, and
Yeah.
truly a miracle.
Yeah, and so they obviously took them straight to the NICU, and my family was like behind the double doors, so like the 2 windows, and they're all like peeking in. I couldn't see it, but in the video you captured them so perfectly. But they're like can see them like carrying them into the next room, and it was just like it was so crazy. But obviously Jaden went to go see them in the NICU and was there, and I was like through FaceTime. But yeah, it was wild. I think it took a second to like get them obviously like stable, but it honestly couldn't have gone better the whole day, and it was good.
The whole day felt like such a miracle. I feel like
Yeah.
it was so beautiful. And I've also like, I haven't known anyone who's had a baby early or anything.
Yeah.
And I feel like everybody in the room, like, I feel like we all just kind of knew it was going to be okay. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, but there was just this energy. And I just think it's probably your baby spirits that were
Yeah.
there, because they truly are like fighters. I was saying to Caitie on the way here, like, your babies have been through more in their first year of life than I've been through, I think, in my entire life. Just like physically, and they're so strong and so perfect. And
Yes.
I just love them so much. So how, after the babies were born, how was your recovery? How long did you stay in the hospital?
Yeah. So we were there for like, I think a C-section is 5-6 days. I can't remember, but we were there the full time just because it was so convenient, because they were literally down the hallway. My C-section recovery honestly wasn't too bad, but again, I think it would have been worse. Like taking fresh newborn home, bending over, doing all the things. Like I just literally could just walk down the hallway and sit in a chair and hold them. But we actually couldn't hold them for 2 days.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
We held them on Valentine's Day, so it's kind of cute. Like Valentine's Day is a little extra special. And they were just literally this big, like just so small. And I just remember being so scared to touch them, because I'm like, I just don't want to hurt them. Like the littlest thing, like we couldn't even like lift up their legs to change their diaper. Like the littlest impact could literally mess them up. And so we would have to like slide the diaper underneath them, and like just there was so much to it. But holding them for the first time like together, I think it was like almost like 2 weeks, just because there's like so many cords, and it just like takes a lot of people and all the things. But something really interesting, so my doctor, he came in and checked on me periodically, like during my stay at the hospital. And they, I guess, they might do this with everybody, but they examined like the placentas, and they looked at Aces, my son's, just because he was the reason why they got pulled out. He told me that his placenta was actually 2 placentas like fused together.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, it's like a really rare thing. My theory is, so that cycle that I got pregnant, I dropped 3 eggs.
Yeah.
And so we all kind of think that there was a third. And he was kind of like, I'm going to take one for the team. I'll come next time.
Oh,
and
that's so sweet.
I'm going to do it so I can save you guys. And
That's so
so,
sweet.
so that's why we need to have a third kid.
So you got to have a third.
My husband's not on board, but I'm like, there's one waiting.
Your husband would be done right now, but you can't ask someone in like the first year of having a baby.
Yes. And so like, it's just a miracle that we found when we did. Like, I'm just so grateful he did that thorough check, because
well, and even if it would have been a few days later, like
who even knows what would have happened. And it just showed that his placenta really wasn't fully
functioning.
Until the whole entire time. So just grateful that they came out when they did, even though it was super rough. But yeah.
But it all worked out, and it was all, I just feel like it's one of the biggest privileges that I like got to be there with my best friend and like witness all of that, and witness you, like the strength that you had to go through all of that truly like brings tears to my eyes when I think about it, because it takes like, I think about this all the time with my moms who are C-section moms. Like,
Mhm.
it takes so much courage to have a baby in general,
Yeah.
but so much courage to have a C-section and to be a NICU mom and just to go through all of those things and not have, and like to mourn a regular like pregnancy and all of that.
Absolutely.
And I just commend you for that. And I
You're
look
so
up to you so much.
Thank you.
But
I
I'm
love you.
so glad that I had you on the show today. And on our next episode, we're going to chat about the NICU.